Take us away, not shirtless Calum.
Or am I? Hello, everybody.
It looks like you just flashed.
Yep, I pretty much did. Today, we're doing another tier list, and we are looking at Marvel films. Because who doesn't like Marvel?
DC fans.
No, just kidding. I do like DC, but Marvel films are, it's good
Superior.
stuff. Everybody likes it. Everybody likes
Everybody
those.
likes it.
So yeah, we've created a tier here with our very well thought out tier names.
Yep.
So starting from the top, we have Castpod's number one, a guy, which is a
Yeah.
Joker reference. So already,
Already at the
we're
top.
already DC is at the top. Next, we have Stanley,
Yep.
not the
Stanley tier.
creator, not the creator
The kid
of
from the
Marvel,
Disney,
but yeah,
the Disney
the kid
Channel
with the
show with the great big
big
book
book
of
of
everything.
everything. Yep, because who didn't love that show? Am I right?
You right.
Next, we have Shawarma. I've never had it,
It's
but
pretty
I
good
guess it's
stuff.
good. The Avengers ate it, so it must be like pretty good,
Yeah.
and that's why it's up there. Next we have Hawkeye, which is like average
Yep.
because
He's the guy with the
you
bow.
know, yeah, I was gonna put Hawkeye at the very bottom, but I was like, that's a little mean. Jeremy Renner's a cool guy,
Yeah.
I think probably. Um, so I put him right in the middle because at least Jeremy Renner's cool. Then we have the Fant Four Stick because
Yep.
although they've never been in a Marvel movie, they are Marvel characters that
And
have been very
terrible
bad,
movies.
very, very poorly made. But who
Yeah.
knows? Maybe one day we'll have Fantastic Four movies to add on here. That would be exciting. And finally, we have the D tier, and I just thought it'd be funny to add C Comics at the end of it. So
Yep.
sorry, DC fans. Um,
It's
hey,
okay.
like I said, I like DC, but you gotta admit the cinematic universe is
It's
just
trash.
entirely different leagues right there.
Hmm.
So yeah, we have 24 movies. Is that what I said to go
I thought you
through?
said 26.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. We're
Ah,
both wrong. We have 23 movies to go through.
in true Castpod
Um,
fashion, not prepared in the slightest to know things.
Not at all. And these are clearly not in any chronological order.
Yep. Are
I
we
could
gonna?
try to do it
I would
in that
say I would.
way.
Let's try and do it in chronological.
All right. Well, then let's jump right into it with the Incredible Hulk.
Incredible.
He is pretty incredible, but how incredible?
How credible is he? Just regular credible? So, when was the last time you watched this movie?
Um, not trying to say anything with my hovering. Um, it's been a while. It has been quite a while.
So,
That's
yeah,
Edward Norton, right?
that was Edward Norton. Yeah. So I feel like
It's not good.
it's not the best.
It's not a good. I enjoyed it. I
It was
thoroughly
pretty
enjoyed it when I first
enjoyable,
watched it.
but it like I think that's one of those movies like it it was pretty good and it would definitely rank higher except the greatness that is some of these other movies, it would just be unfair to rank it in the same category as a better
Yeah,
movie. So,
yeah. It has the unfortunate position of being the first. So it was in a time when like movies just, superhero movies were
weren't.
so not popular
Yeah.
back then. Like you think of the old Superman movies. I mean, Batman was kind of rocking it,
Yeah.
but did it come out before the first
Dark Knight.
Christopher Nolan
I believe
movie,
it came
Batman
out
movie?
after that. It came. One second.
Yeah. So I think The Dark Knight kind of had the first swing at being like a good superhero movie. Um, but obviously they went two different routes with like the seriousness versus the kind of comedy action.
Yeah.
Um, and we see which one has come out on top over the years, obviously. But yeah, it just, Marvel was still kind of figuring out what it wanted to be and how these
So
movies could be made.
hang on a second. You know
Go
what
on.
movie came out a month before it?
Before the Incredible Hulk.
Incredible Hulk? Iron Man
What?
1.
Iron Man 1 was the first movie?
Iron Man 1. I always thought it was Incredible Hulk.
Wow, okay, well, I
But
already look like a fake fan then, don't I?
yeah, we both.
Did it read a month before?
Iron Man 1 US release date was May 2nd, 2008. The Incredible Hulk was June 13th.
I'm so skeptical. Just,
I
I've
hated
always thought
What
the
the
Hulk was the first one.
I always thought it was the first one too, but I guess we're both wrong.
That's wild. And a month before?
Yeah, like not even
So they just made these at the... Because isn't at the end of the Incredible Hulk, the,
Iron Man shows
like...
up. Tony Stark.
Duh. Oh, I'm so... Wow.
Yeah, I know. I
So what, they
was.
just made the two movies at the same time, and they're like, these are going to be connected and come out a month apart
I
from each other.
I guess
So
so.
we hope somebody sees Iron Man first. Wow. Well, then that... Okay, then I'm putting Incredible Hulk right at the bottom. Because you compare Iron Man 1 to Incredible
Yeah,
Hulk, and it's
with a
like,
month
did you
difference,
guys...
that's not really
did you even, like...
watch the movies.
Did you talk to each other about how you're making these movies? Like, you have
I was.
Iron Man 1, which was, like, sick, and then you
Mhm.
have Incredible Hulk, which is like, what's even going on here?
I was gonna say Incredible Hulk is maybe fan four stick, but that's as high as it's gonna go.
I
You
think,
can it can stay down there. I was gonna say the highest it can
yeah.
go is fan four stick.
I just have a hard time thinking, like, pretty much any movie can... Like I said, I enjoyed it, but, like, compared to Iron Man 1, nowhere near as good.
No,
The
nowhere near
villains they
as good
introduced to it have never come up again since.
in either
And, like,
movie.
I feel like of any of the other Marvel movies, like, this is the one that they're like, forget this one happened.
They even
Because it's not the same
recasted.
actor,
Yeah, they
you
recasted
know,
everything about it.
yeah, it's like only, even just like the side characters are the only ones that are still around. Not
Yeah.
even the same Hulk is there. So, like, you know. Anyways, let's
All right.
do Iron Man 1
Iron Man
then.
1, May 2nd, 2008.
I'm missing him.
He's on there somewhere.
This one. Is this one?
Yeah, it's that
Iron
one.
Man? Right. Okay. Where would we put Iron
So,
Man 1?
Iron Man 1, in my opinion, is the best of the solo Iron Man movies.
I can agree with that.
So, I'll fight for anything above, like Shawarma or above. So, Shawarma or Stanley.
I'm down to put it in Stanley.
Yeah, because it's such a good setup movie for everything.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, it just has so much, like, going on and that it could lead into with it that
I
I feel
agree.
like it's arguably like a perfect movie.
Mm-hmm. It's one of the most memorable movies.
Yeah.
Not only just being the first, but just like the story just like makes
It
sense. It's fun to watch.
yeah, it blossoms. And it's like it would do good as a standalone,
Mm-hmm.
but it also does good as a predecessor.
Yeah, I completely agree.
All
Well
right.
then, do you have like a timeline brought up? Because
Yes, I
I'm
do.
not gonna try to guess anymore.
Yeah. We already pooped the bed on that one. So,
Clearly.
May 7th, 2010, about
Wait,
almost
can I take a guess?
yeah. I'll say the date. May 7th, 2010. It's been almost 2 years since
Okay.
the last one came out.
Is it? I feel like it's either Thor or Captain America. Right?
You tell me.
Am I close? Thank you, am I close?
You
It
tell
was
me.
definitely Spider-Man, Far From Home.
Correct.
I'm gonna go with. I'm hovering over Thor: The Dark World. I just realized. Um, I know that's not right. I can't remember when the first Avengers movie happened. It was really early on.
It was pretty early on.
Shoot, I want to say Thor. It's Captain America. It's Avengers?
Iron Man 2, May
God dang
7th,
it.
2010.
Oh, I suck at this. Iron Man 2, here it is. Good old Whiplash.
Oh, and let me tell you,
My board.
it's yeah, that's about as memorable as it gets.
I
I
want
vote.
my board.
It also does have the debut of Black Widow
Doesn't it
in
also have the debut of oh god, what's his name? Don Cheadle.
Don Cheadle
That was
as
the first time he
yeah
was in the
as War
because the
Machine.
original War Machine was not him.
No, it was
It
not. It
was
was Terry
that other guy,
Howard,
Tyler
Terrence Howard,
Tyler Perry. That's
Tyler
right.
Perry, and it did not go well for him.
It did not go well.
he,
Um,
I feel like that's his own little celebrities that
yeah,
went secretly insane
yeah,
episode.
that's all right. He was in other things eventually.
Yeah,
But anyways, Iron Man 2. Um, one of probably my least favorite Marvel movies.
it is by far my least favorite. I'd rather watch Hulk over it any day.
Now that is a bold statement.
It's a true
Um,
statement.
I like Whiplash in
Now,
in general,
I would
like
say,
the
yeah,
character.
the concept behind Whiplash is pretty good, but the
Yeah,
execution with Mickey Rourke, terrible.
it's just kind
Don't
of funny though. It's just, he just wants his bird.
you just put him next to the Hulk and we'll get on with our lives.
He just wants his board. Uh, but yeah, no, I agree. It's like honestly,
It's
if I
so
watched it right now, I still couldn't tell you what the movie's about. I don't know what's
I
happening.
know.
And I know there's a Russian man. He's
Yeah, he
doing
wants his
something.
board,
Iron Man's doing
his other
stuff.
thing.
I don't know the plot. I really don't. And I've seen it
Exactly.
multiple
Multiple
times.
times. Exactly. All right.
All right,
Coming
next
in.
has got to be either Captain America or Thor.
All right. It came out May 6th, 2011.
Oh wait, am I? No.
So,
I want to say I feel like Thor came out before Captain America.
okay. So I'm gonna give you a hint and like,
Please
see,
do.
see if this will help you. The post-credit scene of Iron Man 2 gives it away. I don't know how much of that you remember, but it gives it away.
Mm. So Black Widow made her debut in Iron Man 2.
Black Widow made her debut. Correct.
Is it? Because Hawkeye made his debut in Thor 1.
Correct.
Hawkeye and Black Widow are shipped together.
All right.
Is it Captain America?
It's Thor. I like this side game that we have going on.
I do too.
Calum
Alright, what
getting
was
them
it?
right. And it was Thor 2. Or Thor 1.
It was what? It was Thor 2? Insane. No, okay, I did think it was Thor.
Yeah.
I just decided to throw in Captain America a little
So,
bit. Yeah,
so the
Thor.
post-credit scene in Iron Man 2, I
Was it one of the little
distinctly...
Bernie mark things
Yeah.
on the ground?
It was actually a big crater in New Mexico
With the hammer in it.
with the hammer in it. Yeah, and I
Yeah, I remember.
distinctly remember watching that with my dad because we saw pretty much all of them in theaters together,
Mm-hmm.
or at least the first portion of everything.
Rip Black Widow
And
movie.
yeah, well, that hasn't happened yet.
Exactly. It was
um,
supposed to.
yeah, and we and I remember watching it, and I'm just like, oh, there's gonna be a Thor movie next, even though it was probably announced. And my dad was just like, oh, we don't know, and I can't tell to this day if he like saw the trailers and info for it and was just trolling me, and was just like, oh,
Or,
we don't know that for sure.
or
And
if
I'm
he was
like,
legit
you
just
don't
like,
understand. That's Thor's hammer. There's gonna be a Thor movie, and he's just like,
No,
That's a
no.
little bit crazy.
It could be anybody. Who knows?
They're just making Iron Man movies.
It's actually Captain America.
Yeah.
So I will say Thor is probably my favorite Avenger of the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
He's kind of up there for me. He does good, then he drops really significantly, and then he does significantly better.
Yeah, we'll get to that. Um, but yeah, I'm a big Thor
Oh
fan.
yeah, big Thor fan too.
So I'm down to rank the first Thor pretty high because
Yeah.
I thought it was good. It was a good introduction. Introduced Hawkeye,
And had Hawkeye,
and made Hawkeye seem way cooler than he ended up being.
so above Hawkeye tier.
Definitely above Hawkeye. Um, I thought the fights were cool.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and obviously Loki was in it, and that's
Yeah.
everybody's
Favorite
favorite
villain.
character, every female's favorite character.
Yes, absolutely.
Um,
Now,
so
here's something I'm
I don't know
gonna.
if it beats Iron Man though.
How how much does our friend group memes weigh into your opinions on where we rank
Pretty
these?
highly, because I will say I have
Because
fond memories of that movie specifically because of the memes that spawned
yeah,
from it.
and then there's of course all of us at the bar pretending to throw a glass on the ground and going another.
That was delicious. Bring me another.
Yeah,
Yeah. No, I'm a big fan of that. So I'm down to put it next to Iron Man.
yeah. I think it deserves this like high slot in shawarma.
I'll give it shawarma.
We might adjust it later.
Yeah, who knows?
All
Next.
right, July
Next is Captain
22nd,
America. Gotta be
2011.
Captain America.
So two
Gotta
months
be Captain
later,
America.
it's Captain
Gotta be
America.
Captain America. I knew it.
Now this is
All right.
my favorite character of the cinematic universe. It's the Captain America.
Mm, he's a good character.
He's a good one.
Um, so the first movie was pretty interesting because it was the
Hmm.
first one that wasn't like modern
No,
times
it
initially. Yeah, the whole backstory.
yeah, it took place. The majority of it is the 1940s.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, skinny Chris Evans
Hmm.
turned into muscular Chris Evans.
Yep.
Um, and I think it was a solid movie. I
I think it
think,
was a really good movie. I was a fan. I'm not gonna say
yeah.
it's the best because I know there's so many arguments against it being the best,
Mm-hmm.
but it's in the top half of our rankings.
Yeah, yeah, I can agree with that. Um, I'm trying to think like positives and negatives about it specifically. It had Red Skull in it,
It did.
which was cool, I guess. But
Hmm.
honestly, Red Skull kind of ended up being not
Not
that
super.
big a deal
Yeah,
in the grand scheme of things.
he became more of his own worst enemy
Hmm.
kind of
Which is
situation.
wild because like I feel like in pretty much any other Avengers anything, Red Skull is like the big bad,
Yeah,
you know?
he's literally the big bad in so many of the shows and cartoons.
Yeah, he's like the leader, but
Yeah,
not the leader. That was never built upon by the Incredible
no,
Hulk.
it was
But
never built upon.
um, I'm down to put it next to Thor
I can agree to that.
because I still think both of these were good, but maybe
Hmm.
not quite as memorable as like Iron Man
Yeah,
1. Like Iron Man
Iron
1,
Man
I
one
can
was
remember like
distinctly
like all the scenes.
like the scene of him coming out in the cave and the caveman Iron Man suit is
Hmm.
just like insane.
And then like learning to use the thrusters for the first time, going up in
Hmm.
space and getting too cold,
Yep.
and then the like final battle. All that's dope. Thor, the things that stick out for me are like when he fought the destroyer,
Yeah. Which that was
and
pretty cool in
that was
itself.
cool. That was very cool. Captain America, obviously, I think of like his initial
Yeah.
transformation and his like being an actor initially, and then
Yeah.
being like, I can see, I can fight.
Fight. Hmm.
But Iron Man
Ain't a
still sticks out
skinny
on
wimp
top for me.
anymore, boss. Let me at him. Let me
Let
at the
me,
Nazis.
I can do this all day. So, next is
May 4th,
Avengers,
2012. Yep.
right?
Avengers 1.
Avengers. Woo!
Now, this was a really good movie, in my opinion.
Where the heck is it? This one?
Next one
That's Age
over?
of Ultron. This one. There
Yeah.
we go. Avengers.
Assemble.
The biggest crossover of our time at that point.
Yep.
And pretty good.
I thought it was one of the best. I
Mm-hmm.
think that, like,
Mm-hmm.
I think they do a good job at incorporating the characters from all the beginning movies, even side characters, just having them there. I think it's
Mm-hmm.
a Stan Lee tear.
I'm not even gonna argue. I can completely agree. That is a great movie.
Plus
Because
the
I mean,
iconic lines of, it's like, I have an army, we have a Hulk.
we have a Hulk, and that's my secret, Cap.
I'm
I'm always
always angry.
angry. Yeah, there's just so much good about it.
Yeah.
I will say, I think the villains overall are kind of not super memorable because I know Loki was like
Yeah.
big
Loki
into
did.
it, and then obviously hinting at Thanos.
Hmm.
But like the Chitauri,
That
was
was
it?
kind of, yeah.
It was kind of like
They're
out of
more like the
nowhere, like
grunts.
yeah, they're the grunts, but it was just kind of like, and we have this army of people
Yeah.
that I'm like, I mean,
Alien,
maybe I just am not as familiar
spider,
with them.
monkeys.
Big worm-looking things.
Hmm.
Um, maybe they're a bigger deal in the comics, but
Yeah.
like, you know,
In the
the
movies alone.
yeah, in the movies alone, it was kind of a name that was brought up that I was like, ah, yes, them.
Them.
But
All
overall,
right.
yeah, very good movie. Next,
So we're
we
actually
have
at 20 minutes in for just phase one.
nice.
All right. Do we want to continue?
Yeah, let's just, I mean,
Crank some
let's
out.
just keep it going, and then if we want to cut it later,
All
we
right.
can just be like, phase 2.
Yeah, no, that's too much work for us.
Yeah. Well, anyways,
Phase two,
phase 2.
May 3rd, 2013.
Okay. This is when we get into
So
some new.
Avengers movie already happened. Now there's going to be a
Mhm.
lot more cross
Now we've
all
got
worlds building.
sequels,
Mm-hmm.
sequels, and some new characters.
Correct.
Okay, so I'm breaking this up in between movies,
Mm-hmm.
or like in between major Avengers crossover
Yeah.
things. So I know for this one we're gonna have like Spider-Man's not happening yet.
No.
Obviously Captain Marvel's not happening yet. I feel like this one is like mostly like because it's before the Age of Ultron.
Correct.
That's the next big one.
Yeah, that's the next
So it's
big
gotta be
crossover movie.
yeah. So it's gotta be. I'm trying to think like who was in Age of
Age of
Ultron
Ultron.
that maybe wasn't in it before, but not a lot of these guys.
No.
Um, so I think it's got to be mostly
It
sequels for this one.
it's mostly sequels. There's 6 movies in this phase 2 and
Goodness.
4 are sequels.
Oh boy. Okay. So I'm thinking it's got to be Captain America, Winter Soldier,
Mm-hmm.
um, Iron Man 3,
Yep, those are both in phase 2.
Thor: Dark World.
Also in phase 2. The obvious one. Age
Of Ultron.
There we go.
I didn't know if you were counting that one.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm
and then
including that one. That's also
so then 2 new ones
yes.
out of that.
Correct.
Okay, so I would say probably, let's see, new ones we have, let's say Guardians of the Galaxy, the first one,
Yep.
and then Ant-Man?
Yep.
Wow,
Look at you.
okay. I know, look at me. All right, but
You
now
nailed
which
it.
one of those came
Which
out
out
first?
came out first?
Okay, I want to say Thor: The Dark World.
It is not Thor: The Dark World.
Dang it. Is it Winter Soldier?
It is not Winter Soldier.
God dang it. Is it Iron Man 3?
It is Iron Man 3.
Yes. Okay. I do not like Iron Man 3.
It was it was good and bad.
Okay,
Like,
I like a certain part of Iron Man 3.
yeah.
Everything else about Iron Man 3 I do not like.
What do you like? What's the certain part you like?
You'll never see me coming.
That's all the hype.
That
I
part is what that specific line is what I like.
I will say I like the part where all the suits are pretty much fighting at the same time. All of his different
That was
suits
pretty
are.
cool.
That was pretty cool. And then also, I think it's one of those movies where I feel like it had so much potential.
And then it just
Like,
wasn't.
yeah, like they
They kind
chose
of
the
lost it.
Mandarin as the villain,
And
but
everybody loves the Mandalorian.
yeah, they were bought by Disney at this time.
Yeah, so there you go.
S- I'm
I was very excited for the Mandarin.
yeah, I I was excited for the Mandarin. It's like this is a really cool sorcerer villain, excellent choice. And then it's just like, nope.
No,
I'm thinking, I'm thinking Fan Four Stick.
I think so too. Uh, Purely because of the disappointment from
Yeah,
it.
it had a lot of
Because
disappointment,
like I get subverting expectations, right? That's
but
a
this
thing
is
that
next level.
things do. But like this is like you took something people really wanted and then gave them what
Poop.
they didn't want. So like that's not good subversion of expectations. That's a tease, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Because I mean, in the end, didn't they actually tease the actual Mandarin? Am I remembering that right?
They, I,
In like the after credit scene, I could have sworn
I don't.
somebody teased like the real Mandarin, like with the rings and such.
So that is actually something that they have planned for future
For that new movie
2021.
of the character I've never
Yeah,
heard of.
Shang-Chi and the Ten Rings.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
They're gonna possibly have in a good Mandarin. I'm curious to see how this would
Listen,
go.
I think he did a great Mandarin. He just wasn't the real Mandarin. What was
That's
his
true.
name? What's that actor
Oh,
called?
I don't know exactly. Let's
I have
find
to
out.
Google it. Yeah,
Here, let me take a second.
because he was he did such a good job, and I'll admit it was funny to have the reveal of him
Yeah,
not being magic, but I was like, but I really wanted him to be magic
yeah,
because it also would have been the first time that they had like, well, I guess it wouldn't be the first time they had magic, but like, because like Thor and his whole
yeah.
universe exists. But like, I remember the whole thing with early Marvel was like they wanted to make things kind of believable
Mm-hmm.
in a sense. So it was
Yeah.
like,
So, do you want the actor's name?
yeah, yeah.
Ben Kingsley.
Kingsley. I knew it was Ben something. Yeah, I thought he was a great actor. Um, but yeah, so the main villain was disappointing.
Yeah,
Pepper Potts being a fire lady, kind of weird.
that was very weird.
Um, and yeah, I was kind of disappointed overall,
Hmm.
honestly.
And I feel like, so like, Incredible Hulk stayed very close to the comics, but it
Mm-hmm.
was just a bad movie. And then you have like Iron Man 2 and 3 where they took like very
Kind of
solid
strayed from
concepts
it.
of the comics and stuff and they just really went sideways.
I think it was purely because of that whole like we want to make it kind of believable,
Yeah.
like
Which I think that's also the part where it's like with them going, I think we want to make it kind of believable, and then you put out something like the Avengers, where you're
mm-hmm.
already confirming like space travel. Iron Man literally set off a nuke in space
Yeah.
through a portal. Like
But like they didn't really want to touch on magic that much.
Yeah.
It felt like with Thor,
Yeah,
they're
that's
like,
true.
okay, this is a magical item, but when he doesn't have it,
He's
he's just like a guy.
he's a normal dude.
Yeah. So they didn't want to just like introduce, okay, magic.
Mm-hmm.
You can do whatever you want
Yeah.
until they get to like Doctor Strange, and then it's like, okay, magic just exists now, and anybody can do whatever. But anyways, moving on. So after Iron Man 3, is it then Thor Dark
Yep.
World?
Thor: Dark World, November 8th, 2013.
Nice.
This is
This hurts me.
this was not this
As
was
a
just
Thor fan,
not.
this hurts me.
I feel like, yeah. Do we need to really even go into it on why it was bad, or did people
It
just not
wasn't
see the
memorable.
movie?
It was very not memorable. The villain was a who
Dark Elf.
it's some elf
Yeah.
that was never relevant before or after.
There's
They
no
introduced an
lasting
infinity
impact.
gem.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that makes that relevant. But
And is
like
this
when they
one of
went
the 35 times that Loki died too?
hmm it's funny because when they went back in time in Endgame,
Mm-hmm.
it was like they went back to Thor 2,
Yeah.
and that whole time I was like, what is happening? What part of the story are we in?
Yeah.
Because they're like, we need to go to Jane and extract the Infinity Gem that she was infected by the Dark Elves, and I was like, the what?
The who and
I've
the
seen
what
this
now?
movie. What happened?
Yeah.
I had no idea what was going on, and I was like, and this is my favorite character, and I have no clue. Yeah,
That's
just
very good
no.
judgment of character. All right,
So
April
yeah,
4th, 2014.
2014. Mm. So we still have Captain America: Winter Soldier,
Mm-hmm.
Ant-Man,
Mm-hmm.
and Guardians of the Galaxy,
Mm-hmm.
and
Age of Ultron.
Voltron. Is this Guardians of the Galaxy?
This is not Guardians of the Galaxy.
No, it's not Guardians. No, 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 no. I know.
Then what is it?
Captain America.
It is Captain America Winter Soldier.
Yeah, I did know that. I did know that.
Which,
Um,
for all the Captain America movies, a lot of people like hype this one up a decent bit.
mm-hmm.
I feel like, though, I feel like it's just a decent movie.
For me, would be the first Hawkeye
Yeah, I would say this is
because
a Hawkeye.
it's it's good. Obviously, everybody loves Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
Um, but again, like the whole thing with like the government is evil. They
It's.
brainwash Bucky, and
Mm-hmm.
it's just Captain America and Bucky are kind of going back and forth with like, love me, no, I hate you.
Yeah, that was
Like,
pretty much it.
okay, that was the movie, and
Yeah,
that was
but.
it. And then a helicarrier fell.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. That's all I got.
Overall, it was like halfway decent.
hmm Yeah, could be better. But
Could
yay,
be.
Bucky.
Could be Iron Man too.
It could be. Um, so next we have
Next.
Ant-Man, Guardians of the Galaxy, Age of Ultron. Age of Ultron is the last one.
So this
So
next
it's
movie came out August 1st, 2014.
just trying to think. Ant-Man, Guardians of the Galaxy. I feel like it's gotta be. I feel like it's gotta be Ant-Man, right?
No.
No, it's Guardian. No, it is Guardians of the Galaxy.
How did
God dang.
I think you did this for every single movie in this
Yes.
phase where you
No,
would go,
I got
it's
Thor.
gonna be
I got
one
Thor
of
right,
these two,
and then
and
I get him wrong.
then you go with the one that it's like the next. Like for Iron Man
Yep.
3, your first guess was Thor. For Thor, your first guess was Captain America.
No, I
For
got Thor right
Captain
that
America,
one.
for Captain
I
America,
get
your
to roll
first
back the
guess.
tape.
That's too much work. For Captain America, your first guess was Guardians of the Galaxy.
Wah 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 wah.
So, Guardians of the
Anyways,
Galaxy, by
Guardians of the
far
Galaxy.
the most bumpin' soundtrack of any of the Avengers movies to this
I
day.
agree. I agree.
So that's already
Um,
top half for me, besides being
yeah.
just a pretty good movie.
No, I remember now because I remember Guardians of the Galaxy came out and it was awesome.
Mm.
And then the next movie was Ant-Man, and everyone was like, "How are you gonna follow up this
Guardians,
insane movie with
Ant-Man,
Ant-Man?
and
Like,
Ant-Man.
how good can Ant-Man be?"
Honestly, I feel like
Um,
Ant-Man delivers in this franchise.
I think it did. No, I loved Ant-Man. But obviously we'll get to that in a second.
Yeah,
But yeah, I just remember that's how I remember it. Um, so yeah, Guardians of the Galaxy I thought was an awesome movie.
that
Great
was
soundtrack.
great
It
soundtrack.
brought some characters that a lot of people didn't
Yeah,
know to the
brought
light.
in Ronan, the executioner,
Ronan the Accuser.
accuser. So
Mm-hmm.
brought him in, had in the power gem,
Yep. That was the
and
first time that they like straight up were like, "This is
this Infinity Gem.
an Infinity
And
Gem."
also, I feel like it also does have little hints of leading to other movies. Like, you get Groot exploding, and then that
Yep.
leads to Baby Groot. You get Star Lord, who should be die, but it's like no normal human should have lived by these
Mm-hmm.
standards. So I feel like it's either Schwarmer or Stan Lee.
They have the Nova Corps in it. They
Nova Corps.
have, I mean, the Collector.
Mm-hmm.
Like they have so many good things in there.
Yeah.
Um, and it's one of the funniest movies, hands down, as well.
Oh yeah.
Um, I would put it in Stanley
All
because I
right.
think that was the first like really comedic movie
Yeah.
that introduced like
A
characters
lot.
that a lot of people have never heard of or
Yeah.
people that really wanted to see. It was the first like
Mm-hmm.
expansion kind of
And I feel like
outside of
they
Earth.
and it also had so many like Easter eggs too. Like if you
Yep.
look at the collector's building scene, like
Hmm.
there's so many little things. Like one of them's
Yep.
Howard the Duck.
Howard the Duck. Yeah. Can't sleep on that.
All
So yeah.
right.
So
Next,
easily up there. Next
so
is Ant-Man.
next is May 1st, 2015.
Ant-Man.
Age of Ultron.
What do you said Age of Ultron was the last one?
No, I
What do
didn't.
you
You
mean?
said Age of Ultron
No.
is gonna be
How is
last,
it?
and I kept my mouth quiet.
Now hang on. How is an Avengers movie
Not the
not the
end.
last of a phase?
I genuinely can't tell you because I don't know how they plan these out.
I mean, it makes sense because Ant-Man wasn't in the Avengers movie.
Correct.
But come on. How? Okay, whatever.
Age of
Whatever.
Ultron, in my opinion, the worst of all the Avenger team up movies.
Yes.
Which I feel like that's like set not yeah, that's about right. I was gonna say it's saying a decent bit.
Ultron's so cool,
And he's
and
so
he's not
cool.
in this
There's
movie.
like so many different arcs through TV shows, comics, and stuff with Ultron, and I feel like they just really
They
went
really ruined it with this one.
such a low route. Like he could have been something that's been hyped up for multiple movies too. And
He could
they
easily be a big bad, like Thanos level.
yeah, like Thanos level, like Loki, like in multiple movies, and then they're just like one hit wonder. However,
Because if you've only seen the movies, you wouldn't realize it. But if you've seen the shows and the comics, Ultron is like this unkillable.
it's like AI that's just constantly rebuilding itself.
Yeah, it's like this imposing, like god level threat. Like
Mm-hmm.
when Ultron shows up, they're like, "Oh God, what are we gonna do?" Like we barely got rid of him the
Yeah.
last time. Like they can't kill him.
No.
They just have to like trap him or like
He
I don't
like
know,
re-downloads his information in
put him in the Phantom
sentience.
Zone.
Yeah.
You know. So
Danny
it's like
Phantom.
literally they have to call in Danny Phantom.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
And he's just 14.
But to have him just be a robot
Mm-hmm.
that is like very easily just kind of beat up,
Yeah,
it's like,
they really pooped on the character a
come
little bit.
on, come on. They introduced Vision, which is great. They
Yeah,
introduced Scarlet Witch,
which
Quicksilver, Rip.
yeah,
Uh,
it's a very Quicksilver, but
but I don't, they just really they did not capitalize on what Ultron could have been.
yeah, I think I think that's part of the theme, like with Whiplash and the Mandarin,
Yeah,
where it's like you have these very established villains that are very hyped up or built up very strongly in comics and shows and stuff, and then
and
you
then in the
just go,
movies,
no,
yeah, they're just like, actually, this character is not relevant.
like
It's like, come on.
we'll get to it later, but I feel like in Spider-Man: Homecoming with the Vulture, it's like that's a good one
That's what
movie,
you
one
should
villain.
do. Mm-hmm.
Like
That's what you should do with the villains. Is like,
that's
if you want to update them to modern times, make them cool.
yeah, and
Don't
that's
make
like
them Birdman.
yeah, and that's like he's not an amazing Spider-Man. He's not the Green Goblin, so they don't have to worry about building such a level of hype and attitude.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, this guy's bad. I'm gonna beat him. I beat him.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
and then
still
it's
make
like,
him like memorable.
and then we clap, and then we go into the parking lot to talk.
Yep, every time.
Hmm.
Okay,
All right,
so now,
July 17th,
what
2015.
could it be? Oh, I don't know. Is it Ant-Man?
It's Ant-Man.
Oh, God, right, yeah. Anyways, I loved Ant-Man.
Ant-Man was a good movie in my opinion.
Um, like I said, it was coming after Guardians of the Galaxy and also coming after Age of Ultron,
Yeah,
apparently. Um, so it was like you had some
it
pretty
had high
hyped up movies,
expectations.
and then you have Ant-Man, and people are like, "What?"
He's just a
Like,
guy that can shrink.
here's all these like memorable characters, and then Guardians of the Galaxy, which was like a hit,
Hmm.
and then you bring in this guy that like, who is
Who's
that?
this man? Whose
And
man is this?
hmm,
I said, who's this man? Whose man's is this?
exactly, whose man's is this? And it ended up being great.
Yeah,
It
I
wasn't like a interstellar adventure. It wasn't a massive crossover.
no. It
It was
was
a guy
who can talk
could
to
talk to
ants.
ants.
Yeah, I would say though it is probably Shawarma tier.
I was gonna go there as well.
Yeah, and also it has the best recap ability of any movie.
You got that right. Now those are some side characters
Yeah,
that
that are
you know.
those are like a very good set of side characters. Like they have the comedy aspects, they help out, but they don't like overthrow the main character.
Hmm.
All right. So
So
I say we end this one here, and then we come back with a little recap and phase three, where we finish it off
sure.
and decide who's our number one guy.
Number one, okay.
So see you next week for Castpod ranks Marvel movies two, phase two, the seconding